Suddenly came a guard. He locked the cage up, and the women withdrew. He walked toward me, locked the padlock. The chain fell to the floor. Then he put a rope fixed to the collar. Then he pulled me out of the cage and locked it. I was dragged into a small room. In the room was a table. Here I was forced to bend over the table. My arms were tied to the table front leg with a piece of rope. Then he went behind me, spread my legs, tied my legs. I could hear that he rummaged in his belt and then his zipper. Then I could feel something stiff, hot, start pressure up in my pussy. It was his cock. Oh, it was large and thick. I screamed in grief. It did so terribly hurt. He pulled it out and pressed it in again. I screamed in grief again. He continued. The pain disappeared, and eventually got his release inside me, then pulled out and went. There I was with semen running down the inside of my leg. Shortly after, he came in and tied my hands and forced him onto his back and tied them. So he loosened my legs up, pulled me into another room. Here he took the cord he gets stuck in my collar, pulled the chain and strapped it into a hook in the ceiling. He took a bucket with cold water. He dipped sponge in the bucket. He looked at me while he let the fungus slip in against my pussy. He washed after my legs. So he took the bucket and went. Shortly after, he came in. Along with another man, they talked, shook hands, say. The new man gave him some money. He took a cloth and stuffed it into my mouth. A rope was tied around my head. It should hold the cloth into my mouth. Then he pulled my collar, and I followed. I lifted up and placed in the trunk of a car. Trunk lid was slammed shut. The car is set in motion. It ran for a while, then it stopped. The trunk was open, and I was pulled out. He pulled my collar, and I followed. We stood at a house where there was a staircase down to a basement. We went down the stairs, and we came into a room. There was a bed, a table, bucket and a blanket. In the wall sat a chain firm. He took a padlock from his pocket. Locked chain was attached to my collar, then untied the rope that was around my head, and took the cloth out of my mouth and went. I sat on the bed, looked around a bit. He came back with a glass of water, put it on the table. He said something and went. I drank some water, laid me on the bed and fell asleep. Watch video 5.